Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. We all had a good day today.
Yeah, a little cooler today, but still sticky.
Yeah,
humidity's very high.
Opened up the windows at home, but that may have been a mistake.
Yeah.
I might have turned the air back on.
Well, the dogs will let you know.
No, they're at the groomer, so they don't care.
Oh, that's good, so they don't care.
We're going to head outside later in this hour. We're going to cook up some steaks.
That's right. Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council will be here to share some recipes. That's coming up. Hopefully, we won't get rained on the patio. We'll see.
Hopefully not. We'll see. Here's what's making news, though. The rains have let up for a bit, but the effects are still being felt. We'll have a live report. President Trump continues to say that it is up to the Democrats to change immigration policies. We'll have the latest on what's happening with an issue that has the attention of most of the country. And Milwaukee Bucks guard Sterling Brown files a lawsuit against the city of Milwaukee for his arrest earlier this year. He is claiming discrimination. Let's take a look outside today. I think we've got some video of the Learn to Row event at the Camp Randall Rowing Club. This is where your son started out. This is where he started out. They take the kids out and they show him the fundamentals of rowing. And now he's a college rower. See? You never know. You never know. It is an amazing program and a great day to be out on the water. Yeah, not so hot. And the rain chances continue, however. Karen Swanson is in the backyard. No umbrella for now. No umbrella for now, and I love that video. That is so fun. I was Karen's a rower too. Yes, I was a rower, so that's fun to see the kiddos learning how to take part in that sport. And yeah, we haven't had the significant winds today or anything like that, so the lake a little bit smoother today. You may have seen some of those showers and thunderstorms in your area today, but now most of those are off to our south. There's a nearly stationary boundary just to our south, and that's where the main focus for some of those showers and thunderstorms will be into tonight. Still a chance that some of those showers could sneak into southern Wisconsin, but I think the chances are much smaller than what we've seen during the day today as well as over the last 24 hours. So still a chance of seeing a shower or a thunderstorm tonight and also into the next couple of days as that boundary sticks just to our south. Temperatures right now are much cooler than they were yesterday at this time, seeing some 50s to near 70-degree readings at 67 here in Madison, 70 in Janesville, as well as in Monroe. Those temperatures are about 10 to 20 degrees cooler than they were yesterday at this time. Dew points have also come down significantly. You are probably still noticing some humidity outside. It is still a bit sticky, but compared to yesterday, not quite the pea soup atmosphere that we had yesterday. Today, those dew points are lower, and I do think they'll drop even more as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. There's our live view in Platteville from our Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam, and we're seeing the clouds in that direction. Clouds overhead here in Madison as well, and temperatures this evening will be in the 60s. Not a big drop off in the temperature department tonight. Tomorrow, I do think some warmer temperatures should return to southern Wisconsin. Here's our live view from our Department of Transportation camera at the Beltline and Rimrock Road, and we are seeing just a few slowdowns, although nothing significant at this point, so that's pretty good news. Just a few of those minor slowdowns, generally in both directions, seeing a few of those right around Todd Drive as well as over toward the Park Street area, heading over toward John Nolan Drive, a few slowdowns to around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But overall, looking like good shape this afternoon. Eastbound, your speeds are anywhere from 45 to 60 miles per hour on the Beltline. Heading out of town looking pretty good as well. It'll take you about 15 minutes to get to Sun Prairie. The one thing about all of this rain is I'm seeing bugs everywhere. I keep having to swat them away, so I think that's going to be a sign of things to come. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the best insect repellents coming up in Consumer Reports, so you want to stay tuned for that, Karen. I might have to purchase a few of those. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, thank you, Karen. And weather tops our news at 4. Rock County residents are cleaning up today after last night's storm. Winds and heavy rains caused flooding and trees to come down in Janesville. Our Rock County reporter Adam Duxter is live at the Bureau at the Janesville Gazette to show us some of the areas hit the hardest. Adam.
Thank you. I spent today driving around Janesville's east side, which saw the worst of last night's storms. Crews were attempting to clear standing water on roads like Mount Zion, but also on Wright Road, trees were down, including one that fell on top of a house. With more rain in the forecast, workers say getting the damage cleared as quickly as possible is a priority.
You know, obviously we got weather going on, rain coming in. We want to stop the damage before it gets internal.
Neighbors say that tree in particular came down last night around 7 p.m. Luckily, no one was in the house, and as of right now, we don't think anyone was injured in that storm, but we'll continue to follow along with the damages and We'll also talk to members of the Rock County Sheriff's Department coming up tonight at 5.
We will see you then. Adam Dexter reporting live from our bureau in the Janesville Gazette. Thank you.
Madison police are still piecing together what happened during a shooting last Wednesday leading to a teenage girl dying. 15-year-old Amaria Kimbrough was a sophomore at Monona Grove High School. Her mom says she dreamed of becoming a singer or a model. She was in a car at the Quick Trip on Buckeye Road last Wednesday when she was shot once. Police say there was a large number of witnesses and the shooting appeared to be accidental. Amaria was taken to UW Children's Hospital where she died on Friday.
President Trump continues to claim he doesn't want to separate children from parents who illegally cross the border into the United States. His comments today come as his zero-tolerance policy continues to spark backlash, including many in his own party. Mola Lenghi has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Trump told a group of independent business owners Tuesday that it's up to Congress, not him, to stop the family separation crisis at the border.
We want to solve family separation. I don't want children taken away from parents.
The president made the comments ahead of his meeting with House Republicans about 2 immigration bills.
Those are the only 2 options: totally open borders or criminal prosecution for lawbreaking.
But the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy, separating children from parents who enter the country illegally, is drawing intense criticism, even among Republicans.
I think he's wrong in this particular area today.
All of us are horrified at the images we're seeing. We're seeing little boys, little girls pulled away from their mothers and fathers.
Texas Republican Ted Cruz is introducing a Senate bill that would reunite separated families, authorize new temporary shelters to house them, and double the number of federal immigration judges to work through a backlog of asylum requests. Senator Cruz's plan has some Republican support, but President Trump has indicated he is not behind at least one part of it.
I don't want judges. I want border security.
End this now! Religious leaders rallied outside U.S. Customs and Border Protection headquarters, urging the Trump administration to halt its policy.
They obviously are hiding something.
And in Florida, Democratic Senator Bill Nelson accused the Trump administration of a cover-up after he and other lawmakers were turned away from visiting a shelter for unaccompanied children. Mola Lenghi, WISC News 3.
And according to the Department of Homeland Security, more than 2,300 children were separated from their parents at the border from May 5th through June 9th. Well, Milwaukee Bucks guard Sterling Brown is suing the city of Milwaukee.
He's accusing Milwaukee police of discriminating against him during an arrest for a parking violation. Charlotte DeLeste is in the newsroom with details of the lawsuit. Charlotte?
Susan and Mark, the attorney for Sterling Brown, says he hopes the lawsuit filed in federal court on behalf of his client will send a message to the city of Milwaukee that racial injustice at the hands of local law enforcement must end. Mark Thompson says videos of the incident show excessive force was used by the police against his client. The suit filed against the city of Milwaukee and its police department claims both unlawful arrest and excessive force when officers used a stun gun on Brown during his arrest for a parking violation.
He was attacked, his neck grabbed, he was kneed in the groin, he was tased, handcuffed, left on the cold, wet pavement, and just left there. And then Officer Collins stood on his ankle.
Officers detained Brown in the early morning hours of January 26 because he was double parked in a handicap spot outside of a Walgreens. Officers swarmed Brown and took him down because he didn't immediately remove his hands from his pockets as ordered. Brown has not been charged. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett released a statement this afternoon saying he hopes the relationship between police and residents can improve and hopes the lawsuit, quote, will be a turning point. Susan and Mark?
Charlotte, let's stay live in the newsroom. Thank you.
A new crop of police officers is about to hit the streets of Chicago after a violent weekend that left 55 people shot. A record 230 cadets graduated from Chicago's Police Academy today and got their first marching orders. These new officers will be on the front lines of the city's ongoing gun violence epidemic. The Chicago Tribune tracked shootings and reported 55 were shot over the weekend, 9 fatally. One was was a 17-year-old boy presumed dead until bystanders noticed him breathing. Paramedics began CPR, but he died later at the hospital.
That is something that I think definitely has to be looked at to find out exactly why that happened.
I really wanted to just help the community in which I grew up in, just make the city a safer place.
1,239 people have been shot in Chicago this year. That is about 400 fewer shootings than this time last year.
A day after the Supreme Court sent the state redistricting lawsuit back to lower courts, a citizens group gathered at the state capitol to show they will continue to rally for changes in the way that maps are drawn. Calling themselves the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition, they said this is not the end of the road, and they are asking for independent redistricting reform and taking it out of the hands of politicians. They're also hoping the redistricting issue becomes part of this fall's legislative campaigns.
It's time to elect candidates who promise by November in the election to make passing nonpartisan redistricting reform and fair maps legislation their #1 priority.
Senator Hansen says he plans to reintroduce the fair mapping legislation in January when lawmakers resume.
There's more to come at 4. The president threatens more tariffs against China.
We'll have the latest on this escalation in a trade dispute when Live at 4 continues. Concerns of a full-fledged trade war with China are rattling investors, sparking a sell-off on Tuesday.
The markets recovered some of their early losses, but the uncertainty remains while the U.S. and China continue tough talk on trade. President Trump told a group of small business owners it's time the U.S. evens the playing field with China. The Trump administration accuses China of taking advantage of the U.S., and talks so far have yielded no progress on trade. Experts say there is still time to work it out.
We hope that both sides, with the significant threats on the table, will see it as imperative now more than ever to get back to the negotiating table.
The White House is calling the difference with China nothing more than a trade dispute and insists President Trump and President Xi have a good relationship.
And that news sent Wall Street into a tailspin. The Dow Industrials fell 287 points, closing at 24,700, wiping out all the gains of the year. The NASDAQ Composite Index lost 21, and the S&P 500 was off 11. Well, Stan Lee is often thought of as the father of the modern superhero.
But recently, the 95-year-old creator of Spider-Man may have been a victim of elder abuse, putting his $50 million estate in jeopardy. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger has been looking into the issue of elder abuse and has the results of a new survey.
We talked to her a bit earlier today.
So tell us about the survey, what you looked into and what you learned about how vulnerable the elderly can be.
Well, we have been knowing for the past few years that there's been a spike in financial elder abuse. And we saw that in that Stan Lee case where he was victimized by someone who was supposedly taking care of him. Well, Wells Fargo has done a survey of Americans who are age 60 and over, and they had to have at least $25,000 in investable assets. From this survey, we found that 98% say that older people are susceptible to scams. 46% of those folks who were surveyed say they know someone who's been a victim, and yet, this is kind of weird, just 10% say, oh, I am susceptible. And what's that disconnect is actually passing through to their children. Adult children say that they think that their own parents are not going to fall victim. And I think this is a huge problem. We know they are falling victims to these crimes, and yet no one's protecting them.
What's the most prevalent scam that the elderly are facing?
You know, I would say it's a very old one, that many older people still have physical checks that go to their homes. And as a result, that there are people who intercept those checks and try to deposit them, forging their signature. So one of the big checkpoints that we really want to put out there is that you have conversations with your family members, your older family members, and you really try to say to them, look, we've got to get these checks direct deposited so others cannot cash them. And in fact, there's a new rule as of 2018 which actually is very good to help protect your parents. You can go to the bank and you complete what's called a trusted contact form. This allows financial institutions to put temporary holds on funds or securities of customers where there's a reasonable belief of financial exploitation, and then you are contacted.
What are some warning signs for children of the elderly? What should they be looking for?
Okay, so what you want to be looking for is your parent might tell you about someone new on the scene who's trying to sell them something. Someone who has maybe approached them to try to get a financial product sale in place. And this happens a lot. Also want to take a look, if you can, at your parents' checkbook or their bank account statements. There are actually new services which can help to identify erratic financial activity, and they can actually notify a trusted advocate if something unusual pops up. I think the more important issue here is that you've got to be talking to your parents, you've got to be talking to your older friends, and really be clear that they may not realize that someone who's trying to worm their way into their own lives is someone who could be dangerous.
A lot of older parents are intimidated by technology. They want to write out a check old school. They feel more secure that way. So how do you convince them that that's actually counterproductive?
I'll tell you what we did. I took this advice from an expert who was a fraud expert with my own mother-in-law who's 94 years old. And they said, you know what? She wants to write checks for certain things, but what you can basically do is say, hey, let me assist you. I can do some of the big things. You can do these other things. As much as possible, if you can automate your parents' bill paying, that's the best thing you can do. And my mother-in-law was a comptroller. She was someone who ran my father-in-law's business. So when I said to her, you know, one way we can avoid any fees or charges is we can have it automatically sent from your account. And I showed her what it meant, and then she signed on to it. I think the process is intimidating, but if you sit down with your parents and say, hey, your rent can be paid automatically, this electric bill can be paid automatically, and we can help you do that, I think it's a very helpful exercise to walk them through it. And you know what? If they push back in the beginning, leave it alone. Really, you don't want to have a bad Thanksgiving because you're trying to do this. But you also want to use experiences where you can say, hey, a friend of mine encountered this, or use an example, and they'll start to loosen up. And most people will really want to say this is an efficient way to get it done. And of course, you can write your check out to send a gift to your grandchild when you want.
Well, good advice.
Very good advice.
It's going to be a growing problem as the population grows older. Jill, thanks for being with us
Great
today.
to see you, Jill. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
A new way of combating climate change and air pollution.
After weather, we'll take you to the skies in a new battery-powered plane that has taken to the air over Norway. That's as Live at 4 continues.
Take a look at this. Behold the world's largest Dorito. It's 18 times the size of a regular chip. It's to celebrate the upcoming release of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. The chips came to be after Dr. Henry Wu, a character in the film, merged Doritos and dinosaur DNA. Just play along with this. Just a handful of fans will actually get their hands on them. Frito-Lay will give away the Doritos once a day, starting the day of the film's premiere this Friday.
Oh, I think they should sell them. I think everybody would want a T-Rex-sized Dorito.
Imagine your hands, the color they'd be after that.
Yeah, that's true.
Chocolate and salt, the best combination, right?
It is Tuesday, June 19th. It is National Watch Day. It recognizes an industry that's been around for 500 years. You wear a watch?
I did until it broke, and now I'm kind of always just lost.
You never have a watch.
I always do, but I don't have it on today. I didn't wear it today.
Mine broke, and I've been too lazy to get it fixed.
All right.
It's also National Martini Day. Do we have a shot of our producer in the back?
Dylan.
Oh,
Dylan,
he says we're all tied up.
Where are the props?
Dylan remembered some of the props because it's Eat an Oreo Cookie Day today. America's best-selling cookie, Nabisco, started selling Oreos in, take a guess what year? How old they are?
1922.
1912.
Wow.
Isn't that something? Yep. The current design of the cookie first appeared in 1952. Each year, 7 billion Oreos are purchased. Over 475 billion Oreos have been sold since 1952.
How do you eat them?
I like
Everyone eats them. You screw them apart,
Yeah,
and then do you scrape off the?
I eat the one without the frosting first.
And then you save the frosting for last. What do you
They're
think
dangerous to eat on television.
What do you think of the double stuff?
Well, she likes the mint ones.
I like the
those
thin
are
ones.
good.
The thin ones.
Oh.
Yeah, they're a little dangerous.
I don't like the double stuff. It's too much.
Yeah, I like to dunk, but just a quick dunk in the milk, not like a long.
We're very high maintenance with our Oreos.
Our producer is saying he wants a commercial break. This is too much Oreo
This
talk.
is riveting television.
What's on Jeopardy today?
Don't change your channel. We have weather coming up next. You want to know about the forecast, so I'll have that for you right after the commercial.
Look at how funny that is.
Yikes.
We had some heavy downpours at times today, but now things are looking fairly quiet across southern Wisconsin. We do have just a few showers on the map, generally off to our southwest. A few showers may sneak into southern Wisconsin as we head through tonight, perhaps an isolated thunderstorm, but I think that the chances of seeing one of those is much lower than what we dealt with last night and into the first part of today. The frontal boundary has slipped farther to the south. It is nearly stationary, but it is down across northern Illinois, and that's where the main focus of those showers and thunderstorms is right now, and that's where it will continue to be as we head through tonight. That's where there is that marginal risk of seeing a stronger thunderstorm as we head through tonight. As far as the precipitation estimates over the last 24 hours, there was a band into the central sections of the state. Also some heavier downpours here across the southern part of Wisconsin, especially right along the Wisconsin-Illinois state line is where there were some 2 to 4+ inch rainfall totals. Across Dane County, some 1 to 2 inch totals, and then there was another heavier band of some rain up toward the Wisconsin Dells area. So some clusters of storms making their way across the area, and a lot of those just kind of parked right on top of each other, bringing in those higher precipitation totals. So officially in Madison today, our number is now at 0.54 inches. That brings our total for the month up to 4.7 inches. So we're about 2/3 of the way through the month, and we've passed up our average number, which is for the entire month of June. So May was very wet, and it's looking like a very similar trend for the month of June. Our time lapse today here in Madison shows those clouds overhead through the day with those off and on showers and a few rumbles of thunder in there as well. Especially this morning is when we saw some of those downpours. High temperatures today made their way into the 60s and the 70s. Many spots in the 60s, but far southwest and southern Wisconsin made their way into the 70s, as warm as 75 degrees today over toward Platteville. Here in Madison, we were at 68 and 62. Normals today are 79 degrees and 57. Right now in Madison, it's 67 degrees. Those winds are easterly at 9 miles per hour. The air pressure is falling. Temperatures are quite a bit cooler over toward Lake Michigan right now. That's where there are even some 50s showing up on the map, some 60s to near 70-degree readings elsewhere. 70 right now in Mineral Point. Those temperatures are about 10 to 20 degrees cooler than they were yesterday at this time. So stepping outside, you've likely noticed a big change both in those temperatures as well as in how sticky it feels outside. Still feeling some humidity out there. Those dew points are still into the 60s to near 70 degrees. But those are significantly lower than they were yesterday at this time, close to 5 to 10 degrees cooler. And so that's saying that we have that drier air that's making its way into southern Wisconsin. I think those dew points will drop off a bit tonight, and that trend will continue tomorrow as well. The main heat right now is locked up down to our south. That's south of this stationary boundary. That shifted to the south as a cold front, and now it's just kind of held up as a stationary front down to our south. And these low pressure systems will ride right along it, keeping a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm across the area tonight and into tomorrow, and perhaps another slight chance into the day on Thursday. Eventually, as this low pressure system moves through, that's when we'll see more numerous showers and some thunderstorms develop Thursday night and into Friday. So tonight, still a chance of seeing a few showers with the clouds. Temperatures down to 60 degrees. Tomorrow, kind of a mixture of clouds and sunshine. I think the most clouds will be in the morning, some breaks in the clouds, especially for the afternoon. There may be just a few showers or a thunderstorm, but overall the bulk of the day looking dry with highs reaching 76. Here's how that future track forecast looks. Perhaps those few showers as we head through tonight. Some clouds start our day tomorrow with some of those breaks in the clouds developing in the afternoon. Looking mainly dry tomorrow night, and then just an isolated shower or a thunderstorm possible as we head through the day on Thursday. But overall precipitation amounts looking quite light as we head through Thursday. The main band setting up down to our south. We do get into some slightly better chances of seeing some of that wet weather return toward Thursday night and into Friday. Just a slight chance of a lingering shower into the first part of Saturday, but then looking mainly dry for the rest of the weekend as well as for the start of the next work week. After that, we'll start to turn up the heat and humidity once again as we head through next week. A couple of shower and thunderstorm chances developing Tuesday into Wednesday. Those heat index values perhaps close to 90 again by later next week.
We haven't had 2 dry days in a row all month.
Yeah, you know, 2/3 of the month has been wet, so we just can't string them together. May was much the same. We had, you know, I think it was 2 to 3 times our normal rain total for the month of May, so it's been a wet spring here.
And summer starts Thursday.
Yeah. Hopefully we can turn the corner with our our start of our new season.
Well, it's been plenty warm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
It's the next step in greener transportation, battery-powered airplanes.
Norway is looking to be a pioneer in this field, testing a tiny electric plane for the first time. CBS's Tina Krause has the details from London.
The tiny electric plane took off from Oslo Airport with 2 Norwegian transport officials on board. Crowds snapped photos as the battery-powered aircraft flew for several minutes with no exhaust polluting the air.
This is kind of the first example that we are moving fast forward. We do have to make sure that it's safe. People will not fly if they don't trust it. But 20 years from now, I think when we come to 2040, this is going to be a reality.
Norway's transport minister says battery prices are falling, and plane makers like Boeing and Airbus are also working on electric aircraft.
For transportation needs, we need airplanes that can hold 30, 40, 100 people for the domestic use. We are seeing a development going really fast.
Electric planes can struggle with weight because of bulky batteries and limited ranges. But Norwegian officials are determined to be ready to fly the first battery-powered passenger plane with 19 seats within the next 7 years. Norway's ferry boats are also going electric as part of the battle against climate change. And the Scandinavian country leads the world when it comes to putting electric cars on the roads.
It's cheaper to buy, to run and to maintain, and it's good for the environment.
Now it's hoping to find the same success in the skies. Tina Krause, CBS News.
Norwegian officials say they hope to make all domestic flights under 90 minutes electric by the year 2040.
I'm not sure I'm sold on that idea
It's
yet.
amazing technology, though.
It is. Well, coming up as summer approaches and you spend more time outside, it's important to use a good insect repellent to protect yourself.
When we come back, Consumer Reports has information on which repellents to use for mosquitoes and for ticks this summer for the best protection. That's coming up next.
Mosquito and tick-borne diseases are on the rise nationwide.
And with conditions we're experiencing now, the mosquitoes and ticks are not going away. Leah Linscheid is here with some tips on how to avoid getting bit.
That is a good point. Think about all the rain that we've had on and off. It's going to be terrible this week. Well, good time to be paying attention to Consumer Reports then. The best way to protect yourself is with a good insect repellent. Consumer Reports has exclusive new ratings, including the best repellents to use for a bug bite-free summer.
Annoying, irritating, and potentially dangerous. Mosquito and tick bites can ruin any summer outing. And the diseases they carry, like West Nile virus, Lyme disease, or Rocky Mountain spotted fever, can be much worse. The good news is that the same kinds of repellents protect well against both mosquitoes and ticks.
Many of the better performing products contain DEET at levels of 15 to 30%. Research has shown that DEET is safe when used as directed, even for kids and pregnant women.
As part of Consumer Reports' expert testing against mosquitoes, a standard dose of repellent is applied to each test subject's forearms. Then they stick each arm into a cage of 200 disease-free mosquitoes of one species for 5 minutes. The repellent fails if there are 2 bites in one exposure period or 1 bite in each of 2 consecutive sessions. CR did not test all repellents against ticks, but previous test results and further research indicate that any product that protects against mosquito bites will likely also protect from tick bites. CR's 2 top-rated repellents contain DEET, Total Home CVS Woodland Scent Insect Repellent, and Off Deep Woods Insect Repellent 8 Dry. Also performing well in CR's testing were this 30% oil of lemon eucalyptus repellent and this 20% picadirine repellent. Research suggests both are safe, although OLE should not be used on children under 3 years old. And to get the best protection from any of these repellents, you must apply them properly, so follow the directions on the label.
Now, you might worry about using a chemical like DEET on your kids and want to go the natural route, perhaps with a repellent containing citronella or other essential oils. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and Consumer Reports say that DEET with concentrations of 30% or less is safe for children when used as directed. And CR's tests have shown that the most natural products, with the exception of oil of lemon eucalyptus, don't perform well against mosquitoes. And I can attest to that as well. I've tried the natural ones and they smell great, but it's that DEET that really makes the difference.
You want to be good and natural and all that stuff, but not against mosquitoes.
A lot of people say Skin So Soft, that Avon product is good on mosquitoes, but I don't know what to do for ticks. I guess you just have to watch and be careful.
Yep, and Consumer Reports says ticks, everything that works for mosquitoes generally works for ticks as well. So if you're covered on the mosquitoes, then you're covered on the ticks. That DEET is the way to go, though. Listen to the experts.
Yeah, all right.
Best stuff.
Good advice.
Thanks, Leah.
You're welcome.
And once you've got your protection from your bugs,
it's time to do a little grilling outside. When we come back, Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here. She has some great steak recipes for us. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Your First Alert traffic update is not showing any significant slowdowns at this hour. We are seeing a bit of slowing on the Beltline in some stretches. This has kind of been hit and miss right in the Rimrock Road area, seeing some slowing at times, and then it picks up in pace once again. So overall, not seeing those tremendous slowdowns, but we are getting into that hour when we do have some of those slowdowns to around 30 to 40 miles per hour in some spots, both eastbound and in that westbound direction. So here are some of your eastbound speeds and times. Verona Road over toward John Nolan Drive, you're traveling around 37 miles per hour. Back in that westbound direction, just about exactly the same, 37 miles per hour, and that stretch will take you 7 minutes. That's your First Alert traffic.
All right, Karen, thank you. The last batch of Burgundy from revered producer Henri Jarre sold for $35 million in Geneva over the weekend, more than double the upper-end estimate in what the seller described as the largest wine auction ever. All 1,064 bottles were sold, including 855 standard ones and 209 magnums of vintages between 1970 and 2001. Jarre, who died in 2006, was a magician who could turn even unassuming stretches of soil into extraordinary wines. And what goes better with red wine and steak?
Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
We're firing up the grill, hoping the rain holds off a little bit.
So good.
Steaks on the grill.
Three different ways. What'd you make?
I got 3 different steaks. I've got premium steaks, so these are grill ready. So even if you're last minute driving home from work, I want to grill a steak. Choose one of these cuts. So strip steak, let's start with that.
Okay.
We've got a pomegranate steak with quinoa. So we made a bed of quinoa and I just simmered it in beef broth with a little fresh spinach and then some dried cranberries. And then I grilled a strip steak and I actually just marinated it 15 minutes to 2 hours. Just for flavor.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to, not for tenderness.
But this is interesting. You marinated it in pomegranate juice.
Pomegranate juice, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, a little bit of garlic, and balsamic vinegar. Now, the marinade does double duty, so you put half the marinade in here with your steak, and then reduce half to drizzle on top of your steak and your quinoa. So then you have like a pomegranate balsamic vinegar reduction, which is delicious.
And good for you?
Yeah, fresh rosemary, fresh thyme. Strip steak is one of the lean cuts.
Just
so
over
you
the
can
top?
drizzle a little over the top.
I hope you brought forks.
I did.
That's a great
and
looking
then some
summer
crumbled
meal.
feta, if you like. It is a very good summer meal. Tenderloins, so the filet, another lean cut, but the most tender cut you can get, so it's perfect for the grill. I just bought some and then I tied them with string to keep them nice and tight together and a little thicker. And this is a blue cheese sauce, so crumbled blue cheese, sour cream, a little bit of cream cheese. It's got a lot, dairy month, right? So I got a lot of cheese going on. And then a little minced onion and pepper, and that's it.
They intimidate me a little bit because they're so expensive.
They are.
And I'm afraid that they're going to be like raw.
Use your meat thermometer and cook them. I grill them on low.
Okay.
So, or you could sear them this thick. You could sear them a minute on high. Don't walk away. Flip them over, do another minute, turn it down to low, and then 3-4 minutes. But use your meat thermometer, insert it horizontally from the side, 135 degrees, and then let them rest. So these are resting with the sauce on top, and then it'll melt right over the top. Third recipe, ribeyes.
My favorite cut.
Yes, so ribeyes I just grilled with salt and pepper, and then a super easy tomato and olive tapenade. Perfect for summer. So 1 package of cherry tomatoes halved, 1 small can of black olives sliced, 3 tablespoons of Parmesan.
More cheese.
I know, it's dairy month. Hey, we're sporting dairy. And then fresh basil, 1/4 cup of fresh basil. So 4 ingredients, but this is super, super yummy.
So no oil or anything?
No oil or anything, no fat, nothing in here. And then you serve this right on top of your ribeyes. My plate's too small because I got 2 on here. But you can serve that right with your ribeyes, and it's really, really good with the fresh tomato and Parmesan and basil with the ribeyes.
Wow, Angie, that
very,
looks
very
great.
tasty.
How long did you cook the ribeyes?
I do about 4 minutes, flip it another 4 minutes, and then check it with the meat thermometer. So I like them medium rare, so I pull them off 135, 140. Let all of your steaks rest so that when you slice them up, you don't get all the juices on your platter. They'll stay right in. So beeftips.com is our website, and right now we've got a link to all of it's our Grilling 101 page. So all of our recipes, our steaks, burgers, kebabs, other videos, all the meat thermometer information is right there. Everything you need to know about grilling steak.
You can use a T-bone.
Oh, yes. Yeah, with the tomato tapenade, the sauce, even the blue cheese sauce, it could go on any of your favorite cuts of beef.
Yeah.
This looks wonderful.
I think it's on sale. That's,
there you go. That's a great idea.
Recipes, beeftips.com. Also on Facebook.com/Wisconsin Beef. You're on Pinterest and
Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter.
No Spotify.
YouTube?
No Spotify.
I don't think so.
Gotta get the podcast going. All right, where's the forks? I'm digging
Great
in.
ideas.
You are welcome.
Happy grilling. Thank you. We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. Sprinkling a little bit out there with Angie.
Was it? Yeah, we've got just a couple of very spotty showers across the area, and that's the way it's going to stay through tonight and even into tomorrow as well. There's our live view from downtown Madison from our Edgewater Sky Cam, looking pretty dreary in that direction as well. We do have that chance of a few showers or an isolated thunderstorm this evening. Temperatures in the 60s, dropping down to around 60 degrees overnight. Tomorrow looks a little warmer, back to 76. I think we'll see more clouds than sunshine tomorrow, but there should be a bit of sunshine in there. I think the better chances of seeing that sun tomorrow will be during the afternoon, and especially north of Madison.
All right, well, hang in there.
Yeah.
All right, coming up tomorrow here on Live at 4, we go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs. And get this, a 700 horsepower Jeep Trackhawk. Gotta wear a helmet on this one.
You two are having way too much
We had to go to the
fun.
racetrack for this.
Oh, you just had to.
And nutritionist Donna Weihoffen will be here. She'll help us get our 4th of July picnic ready ahead of time. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.